Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to draw with me at Zentangle Explore. My name is Esther Piszczek. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher. And whether you are joining me live here today, right now, or on the replay, I am so glad that you have scheduled some time to slow down and breathe and draw really simple lines. So this is a class where we draw one Zentangle pattern really, really slowly. And all you will need is a couple pieces of paper. These are watercolor pieces of paper that you can, small enough to hold in the palm of your hand, and a pen. So I have a 01 Micron here. I have just a Sharpie felt tip. I have a blue Pilot G. I don't know if the blue one will make an appearance, but it might. So whatever you have is absolutely perfect. And we're going to begin by doing a little breathing. It's always good to breathe and settle so that we can actually draw slowly. So get nice and comfortable in your seats. You can close your eyes if you like. I'm going to close mine. And we're just going to settle in and breathe. Just allow your body to settle into the space that you're in, wherever you are, whether you're sitting or standing or lying down. Perhaps feel the connection, whatever is connected to the earth, to the floor, to the ground, to the foundation, your feet, your ankles, your calves, everything that supports you and allows you to function in the world. Feel that connection with the earth. Allowing your breath to be exactly as it is. Gentle inhale. Small stop at the top. And a releasing exhale with a beautiful stop at the bottom. And perhaps a gentle scan of your body, allowing what might be tense or maybe something that you're holding, even something that you're holding in your thoughts or your consciousness or your awareness. Just allow that to be gently drawn, like melting candle wax, gently drawn all the way down to that connection with the earth, allowing Mother Earth to hold it as she holds you, knowing that it's not necessary to hold any of those things right now. Right now, we are creating space and we are breathing, inviting creativity to flow, inviting inspiration to join us, inviting our bodies to rest and our breath to flow. And when you're ready, let's take a big inhale together. All right, so I have a couple of pieces. You may want more than one because you might start a new composition in the middle of our drawing. I have a 01 Micron and a Sharpie felt tip and a lovely blue pen, which I may be excited and use. You can also use highlighters. You can add color, gold pen, whatever you have. And if you just have a ballpoint from a hotel, perfect. That is perfect. And a piece of paper, it doesn't matter. We don't need fancy supplies in this class. So we are going to draw this lovely little pattern called Kruffle, Kruffle, by Kelli Kling, Kelli with an I. She's a certified Zentangle teacher. And for those of you in the Zentangle world, which you need not be if you're in this class, but those of you in the Zentangle world, this is a variation of crescent moon that is really, really fun to draw. So we are going to start really slowly with a line. And you can start yours off the page if you like. I'm going to start mine just in the center here. And I'm just going to give it a little bit of a wiggle. This class is an exploration. And so one, we draw really slowly. We breathe. And then we take note of the components of the tangle so that we can change it in whatever way we want to change it. So we start out with this gentle line. Now we're going to add a little crescent and a little crescent. And so you ask yourself, or I ask myself, does the line have to be this shape? It does not. Does it have to be this thickness? It does not. Do these crescents have to be this shape? They do not. But we're going to draw this the way Kelly drew it, and then we're going to explore all of those different options, and you can explore in your own way. And I'm not going to be too concerned about how perfect I'm getting this, but I'm going to black these in. And of course, this is a space that we've created, so it doesn't have to be black. It can be orbs or hash marks or zigzags, or put a heart in there. You can put whatever you want in these little crescents. These crescents don't have to remain crescents as we go along. They can be squares or triangles or octagons, whatever you like, rectangles. So we have a line, we have these crescents, we have the fill, and then we have an aura. The crescent one has an aura, which is just a line that mimics the line that came before. I love drawing auras because it's a time to rest in drawing, because all you're doing is following the leader of whatever came before, no matter what that is. And then another aura, making these nice little sun shapes. And if your auras match up on the line, fabulous, so that it becomes a continuous line through. That's lovely. And if it doesn't, that's lovely too. It's all okay. Now mine's going off the page here, and I'm just going to add a little fun because this is an exploratory class, so why not? So this is the pattern. And as I said, we're going to draw it in the way that you want to draw it, and the way that I'm going to draw it does not have to be how you are drawing it. So I'm going to start again, show you this again, and you could line these up. So let me just show you that now. I'm going to practice this and see what this looks like. So I'm auraing this first line. You do not need to do it this way, but just to show you what it would look like if you made this into more of a grid, a channel grid. It's just a fancy way of taking these band tangles and stacking them up. It's a fancy name. It just means we're creating some alignment. And this is for all of those who maybe want some alignment that really aren't ready quite yet to be going off into wild exploratoryville, which I will enter very soon. For now, we're just going to explore just like this, at least I am. And those of you who've drawn with me before can wildly explore right now. So I have my crescents, I have my line, I have my fill, adding my auras. Sometimes you can line these up. Sometimes it doesn't matter if they're lined up. So if I'm going to change this pattern, how could I change it? I can make the line a lot more squiggly. I can change the shape of what I'm going to aura. I can change the thickness of the line. I could make it a double line, a small space between it. I can add orbs to this instead of having black fill. However you want to change this and morph this is completely up to you. And if you're getting a question in your mind that says, like, what if I did this? I wonder what would happen if I did that. This is absolutely the place to answer that question, because you have a pen, you have a page. And you can use that pen on the page to explore those what if questions. Now, I started with 2 auras here, but there don't have to be 2. There could be 1, there could be 3, 4, 5. You could draw one of these little Kruffle bands on your page and then just aura those shapes for the rest of the page, adding some black fill if you'd like. I'm going to show you here what happens when these shapes interact. So I'm going to come up to this aura and I can't draw through there. I don't want to draw through there. So I'm going to stop, watch that go behind, and then come back down. And now it appears that this tangle was laid down first when it was really laid down second. It's a fun little drawing trick. And over here again, I'm going to stop, watch where it goes behind, and then continue. And these lines that are open, so this line is open, so I can take this line and continue it. And I can make it do wild, crazy things. I can decide that all of my crescents are only going to be on one side. I can decide that they're going to be really small. I'm just going to decide that they're like really close together. Maybe they're only auraed every so often. I can decide that both of those crescents are right across from each other, creating a little bubble orb. I can decide whatever I want. It's really, really fun to say, wow, what freedom. I have this simple shape. Teacher's not telling me exactly what to do, giving suggestions. Suggestions aren't rules. I can do whatever I want. And nobody can stop me. Mostly because we're online and I can't see what you're drawing, which is absolutely perfect. It's a perfect opportunity for you to feel very powerful on the page. Very, very powerful and free. There aren't a whole lot of places in our life where we feel powerful and free. And this is an excellent opportunity to do so. Mine is a little squiggly and a little messy, and my lines are wobbly, and I absolutely love it because it's completely unique. And I'm a recovering perfectionist, so embracing the messy, embracing the wobbly, embracing the here I am, this is how I'm showing up right now, is just freeing and lovely. Say, it doesn't matter. This is an exploration. Whatever this looks like is literally perfect. Because when this is done, it's just going to be super fun because I allowed myself to be so free with it. So when I imagined, well, when I chose this pattern last night, I was thinking that it would be really fun. And I'm going to do it. I'm just going to connect these, make this super wild. Super fun to draw this in a spiral. A really wonky spiral that is absolutely 100% imperfect. And because of that, it's super fun. So you could take your spiral and spiral it into a square. You could take your spiral and spiral it into a triangle. You can make your spiral really, really huge. And play around with sides of these crescents and bury them. And your line does not need to stay this little singular line. It can get larger, wider, thicker. It can be thinner in some spots, thicker in other spots. It can become a double line or a triple line. We are playing, we are experimenting, we are exploring. We are grand explorers with a pen in hand, allowing ourselves permission, giving ourselves the freedom to say, nobody needs to see this but me. And I'm exploring for myself. I'm not exploring for Esther. I'm not exploring for somebody else who's in a live class. I'm not exploring for whoever's going to watch the YouTube video next. I'm exploring for me. And therefore, this is my time, my pen, my artistic journey, my exploration journey, my opportunity to be wildly permissive, to embrace the power that a pen gives me to draw whatever I want, even if it looks absolutely nothing like this pattern Kruffle. Maybe you decide that you don't want any aura lines. Maybe you decide that your aura lines are squiggly instead of following the actual line that came before. You want to make a brand new squiggly line. Totally perfect. Maybe your aura lines form little hearts over the crescents. Just slowing down and breathing. Sometimes I get really excited about what I'm exploring, and then I forget that I'm really slowing down and breathing. That is the first thing that we're doing. Slowing down. Relaxing the grip on that pen. Allowing yourself to breathe, allowing yourself to notice your breath, to feel your inhale and your exhale. I'm going to allow that to only have one aura because I really like how it looks. There's so many ways to explore simple patterns. I love how they're suggestive. This is a band tangle, but as I showed you in the beginning, we could turn it into a grid tangle. We could fill the entire page with a beautiful little grid of this. But you could take it and you could make it a singular element where it's not connected to a string at all. The string being the first line that we drew that connects all of these little crescents together. I love the freedom of embracing this really wonky, crazy line today. So if I made this a singular element, Maybe it would look something like that. It doesn't even need its little sister opposite crescent to go with it, although it could have it. All right, I'm going to start a new exploration over here. I'm going to see what my blue pen looks like just for fun. The key to exploring is to give yourself permission to actually explore. And when we stop ourselves by saying, well, that's not good enough, or that's not what I intended, or that's not what somebody else is drawing, then it just limits the opportunities, it limits the possibilities of what might show up that you might actually really enjoy. I think sometimes, at least for me, there's a fear that if I allow myself to explore, if I give myself permission to do something that is not already prescribed by somebody else, or tested or tried out by somebody else, or suggested by somebody else, that the outcome will be that I so-called mess it up, make a mistake, don't enjoy it, waste time, waste resources. All of these things are just really just things that keep us from exploring. They keep us from investigating new things. They keep us from discovering what we actually enjoy. And so there is some level of first permission we have to give ourselves to say, oh, I'm safe. It's okay. It's pen on paper. Nothing bad is going to happen here if I draw a squiggly line, if I make a huge ink blot in the middle of my piece. Like it doesn't matter. Nothing happens. I like to say in my Zentangle classes, like nobody's bleeding, no one's going to the hospital, like nothing bad is happening here. It's ink on a page. We're completely safe to explore wildly. No one needs to see it. No one's giving you a grade on it. Doesn't have to go into a museum. It's not going to be on public display. It won't end up on the front page of the paper. Nothing bad is going to happen. So giving yourself permission allows you to interact with your inner inspiration in a way that is permissive, because you started out giving yourself permission. And that permission allows all kinds of really truly interesting things to come into your mind. And I sometimes argue with those things and say, that's not going to work. That's really dumb. This is stupid. That'll be a waste of time. And then the idea comes back again and again and again. I finally say, fine. After I'm done arguing with myself, I say, fine, and I try it. And almost always, it's just amazing what I discover. And I wouldn't have discovered that thing, whatever it is, if I had just the first time my brain said, no, don't do that. That'll be stupid. No one will like it. It'll be a waste of time. If I'd listened to that voice, I tell you, I would have a very short career as an artist. Very, very short. I would have done nothing. And doing nothing is, well, just plain no fun. It's way more fun to make wiggly, squiggly, wobbly, wild lines that are ridiculously imperfect and yet so perfect because they are so unique. Nobody is going to be able to draw exactly that line that you are drawing right now. Nobody. Not Van Gogh, not Matisse. Nobody. Only you. And that is powerful. And that is worth celebrating. Your lines are worth celebrating because they are yours, simply because they're yours, not because they're perfect, not because they could go into an art book, for no other reason than because you sat here right now and you breathed and you intended to draw a line and it showed up on the page. That is amazing because you could have sat here paralyzed in fear. You could have drawn one small line and then run away and never drawn another one, but you didn't. And that takes courage. It takes courage to show up on the page over and over and over again because the page shows us what's happening on the inside. And sometimes we don't want to see it, but it is always, 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 always worth looking at because we have ourselves come into the world with ourselves, we leave the world with ourselves. It's a really good idea spending all these years here to get to know this person that we are and this person that we came here to be, no matter what. And we're so safe to do so because that's the whole point, to come and experience life in this personhood, this personality, this body, this physical form, this energetic form. And part of that experience can be calming down, slowing down, and drawing really wonky lines just because we can. Wonky, slow lines while breathing. Following that inspiration that just shows up seemingly out of nowhere and says, well, what if you did that? What if that crescent was an octagon? What if it was a pentagon? What if there were 15 auras? What if the line got really fat in the beginning and then got really thin and narrow at the end? And then all the crescents were different sizes. What if one was a square and one was a triangle and one was a rectangle? Oh my gosh, what would that look like? I tell you, I don't know what it would look like, but you can find out really easily because you have a pen. This blue is so much prettier than it is showing up on the camera. I am not going to stop using it because it does not look great on the camera. You can see it, and that is good enough. Just allow yourself to breathe and watch the pen Move across the page. Nothing else has to happen. You can be in curiosity this entire time. Just say, wow, well, that's an interesting move my hand just made. I wouldn't have thought to do that, but okay, this is what it looks like. Let's see where it goes next. Let's just allow it to be what it is without having to make it fit into some sort of box, some sort of prescribed notion of what's appropriate, what's right, what's perfect, what's expected. Oh, that sounds terrible and boring and ridiculous and hard. We are all creators. We create our lives, create our lines, create our work, we create our relationships. So let's give ourselves credit for creating in whatever way that what creation wants to come to you and through you, through your pen onto the page. It's a beautiful process, and I'm so, so grateful that you all came to draw with me today, wherever you are in the world and whenever you view this video. I give you permission to celebrate your beautiful selves and every single line that you're putting on the page, no matter what it looks like. I often find if I get done drawing in a class that I'm teaching even, and I'm maybe not so thrilled with what I put out there, I always find I look at it the next day and I go, oh my gosh, like that is ridiculously cool. And I couldn't see it last night because I was too close to it. I had too many judgmental thoughts about it. I had too many expectations I was layering on top of it. But now that I've had some space and some time away, wowza, it's so amazing. And so I recommend if you have any doubts about your tiles, what you're doing, how you're showing up, how your lines look, just let them rest. Let them rest for a week. Let them rest for 10 days. Come back and look at them again. And I suspect actually, that when you get back to them and you've had some distance, you will say, I did that. Wow, that's really cool. That's like super, super cool. I'm cool. That's amazing. It seems like allowing would be this easy thing. Just allow, just do it. It actually takes quite a bit of courage and intention and focus and permission. And so when you find yourself actually allowing, relaxing, resting, being so kind to yourself, celebrate, 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 celebrate. Because I know that each one of you, even though I don't know what's happening in your lives, I expect that some of it is really hard. I expect that some of it is really, really, really hard. And you're doing it anyway. You are showing up. You're showing up for yourself. You're showing up for your loved ones, for your friends. You're showing up for your body, how you care for yourself. You're showing up for your mind. You're showing up in so many beautiful ways. And we give ourselves credit for that. It just feels like a little break. Say, wow, I'm doing the really hard things. They're really hard and I'm doing them anyway. I'm showing up just as I am. And maybe I'm not doing it perfectly. Maybe I have all kinds of expectations or judgments about how I'm showing up. But it doesn't matter because you're doing the thing. No matter what that thing is, you're doing it. And nobody else can appreciate how much effort and how much courage that takes except you. So give yourself credit. So much credit. I say these things to remind myself that I need to do it too. Every day. Slowing down, breathing, watching the ink go onto the page, appreciating what shows up simply because it's there. Almost every one of these patterns that I draw, teach in these classes, I feel like I could spend easily a week, if not a month, just exploring all the different ways that it can morph and change using this exploratory process. It's really, really fun. And we don't need to explore just here. We can explore on a note card that we send to a loved one. We can explore on envelopes that we send, even bills. We can explore with a stick in the snow. We can explore with a finger on a fogged up mirror. So many ways to add creativity and art to our lives. We can explore on the top of a cookie dough before we bake. We can explore on the edge of our grocery list or page in our journal. It's the time of year here, at least in the northern hemisphere, where it's cold and snowy. We can explore with a white chalk marker or any type of chalk marker on our windows, front door, any type of glass that we have in the house, knowing that you can just erase it if you don't like it. There's no erasing in Zentangle, but if you're putting chalk on your window and you feel like erasing, go for it. Go for it. Still breathing. knowing that whatever you're creating actually is perfect. It's funny, I always say that before we start drawing, and it's actually true. It really is true because that line, no matter what it looks like, it couldn't have been anything but what it is. It is exactly as it is. And that makes it perfect. It is perfectly itself. You are perfectly yourself. No one else can be you. So therefore, you are the most perfect version of you. It's really so simple. We make it so complicated, me included. Being a reforming perfectionist, I make it really complicated. That doesn't have to be that complicated. Just say, hey, I'm the only one there is. I'm the only one there ever is. It's not like every, 300 years or something, a new version of me will come up. This is the only version. Even if you're talking about like past lives and everything else, I will never be this version of me ever, 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 ever. I am it. That is amazing. So why not enjoy being what we are? Since no one else is going to do the work to be us, then we might as well embrace it, embrace the opportunity. To be fully who we are, always. Because really, there's nothing else to do, there's nobody else to be. Being somebody else just is really hard because it goes against who we are. So if you are wild and wacky and crazy, then embrace it. Appreciate yourself. It's way more fun than not doing so. It's always so fun to draw these simple patterns because there's very little to really keep track of. There's only so many lines, and even when I'm changing them, I'm only changing really one thing at a time. And so it becomes very meditative to just say, oh, I'm just doing this simple thing. I'm just going to keep doing this thing over and over again. And I feel calmer the more I do it. It's always lovely to find something that calms me down instead of revs me up. Because there's way too many opportunities to get revved up. Lots and lots and lots of ways. Calming down just feels better when I embrace it, give myself permission to stop, give myself permission to just be and know that just being is actually productive. I am being productive when I sit and breathe, when I lie on the floor and breathe. It's the very best type of productivity. Okay. Right. These are my explorations. I am very excited about all of them. I hope you love yours too. Hi. so happy that you came to draw with me. Thank you so much. If you would like to donate to these classes, you can do so at paypal.me/eternalpossibility. You can visit my website, eternalpossibility.com. The classes are not updated. I can't update right now. So what's on there is what's on there. And hopefully that will change soon. So thank you for drawing with me. I hope you loved your exploration, and I hope that you continue to draw for quite a while. All right, bye.